So my thoughts on dietas. Interesting thoughts, maybe or not. I don't know. But for some reason, people who try to do a dieta by themselves generally have a really hard time. It doesn't seem like there's a lot to it. You put yourself in a kind of a isolated container. You limit your social interactions or completely eliminate them. You control how much you eat and what you eat. And you just sit with yourself for extended periods of time. And you don't necessarily have to do anything while you're just on dieta, which is probably the hardest thing for people to do, is nothing. I've always been of the mindset that doing nothing is easy, and I wish I had more time to do nothing. But when you put yourself through 30 days of isolation and self-denial, it becomes increasingly difficult. So one thing that helps is the structure and the environment. Here, the Shipibo create a very rigid container, and because your abilities to do things here are restricted by nature, and the food that you eat is also prepared and served for you, you do not have the temptation to break your dieta. In this environment, I eat so little that I'll maybe have a bowel movement once every 5 days or once a week. In this kind of a container, it's very reflective. In my experience here, I do feel things are moving. They're just moving slowly, and that's to be expected. Another thing about having a Shipibo or a Maestra create a container for your dieta is you also manage your expectations. You don't expect to have any kind of radical transformation day to day. When you're trying to diet by yourself, you may feel like it's not working. And you may be tempted to plug in, see what's going on in the world. You may be tempted to eat a big meal because you're hungry, and if you're preparing your own food, it's very hard to ration yourself and keep your portions to a minimum. And the other thing here is that there's a maestra and a teacher who are accessible, who can talk to you when you're struggling, when you're frustrated, who can help you move past certain blockages, or just listen. I was talking to Dove today, and our conversations are usually very brief, usually 3 to 4 or 5 minutes, just while we're finishing up our meals. And I mentioned I should go to my land in Costa Rica. It's pretty remote, it's isolated, it's tranquil, it's peaceful. It's in the jungle, and I have everything I need there. I have a nice, quiet cabin. I have a place to relax and rest, sleep in very relative comfort. I have my own kitchen, my own bathroom and shower, so everything there is kind of primed for a dieta. And he said that would be amazing. For me, that would be an incredible experience. But he said it would be very difficult because the biggest challenge with doing that, of course, is self-control. In Costa Rica, while things aren't happening, things are still happening. I have cows on my property that are managed. I have projects that are going on. Sometimes they try to do some road work and make some improvements to the road. The fences, the pastures they're working on, doing some management of that. And my caretaker, while he is extremely knowledgeable and wise and hardworking and trustworthy, has a tendency to be very present while I'm there. He's always asking me questions. He's trying to help. He's doing his best for the land and for the finca, but he's also kind of intrusive. So when I go to Costa Rica, I actually have to give him specific instructions not to show up, not to bother me while I'm resting. If I was to try to do that for a month, I think he would have a hard time staying away. The other issues, of course, would be how I would occupy my time. It's very tempting for me while in my finca to take frequent walks through the jungle, to go to my favorite spots, to sit under a waterfall. All of those activities, while they're calming and soothing, can also be distracting, because the process of walking, clearing, navigating through the jungle and finding the right path, getting there, and then working my way back, those are all activities that are fairly occupying in my mind. The true nature of a dieta is to remove as many occupations, direct occupations, and kind of just let your mind wander. And here it's so much easier to do. So if you're considering doing a dieta, which is a fairly powerful experience and a very big commitment, I would recommend finding somewhere that knows how to create the proper container, where the people there understand what a dieta is, how to prepare the food, how much food to prepare, where the space is protected, where your privacy and isolation are respected. At least for the first dieta, it's always a good idea to find a place where you can be guided and supervised, and where you don't have to struggle with self-control and impulses to do things that would violate it. The reason that's important is because violating a dieta can have some pretty severe consequences. Everything that my teacher has told me is that by violating your dieta and breaking your contract with a plant, you can actually make your situation worse. You can make your asusto worse. The plant will reject you, and essentially any time you spend prior to that would be wasted. So once you've committed to the dieta, it's essential that you follow it. It's essential that you do not break it. And depending on the plant you are dieting with, there's a certain amount of flexibility. The plants that I'm on, Ahosacha bobinsana, they're a lot more forgiving. So if I accidentally eat some salt without realizing it, because someone new in the kitchen doesn't know I'm dieting and they put a little salt in my food, the plants can forgive that and the diet can remain. But if you are dieting on something that's a little bit more intense, like Chirik, Sanango, that plant is very strict and very unforgiving. And even things like impure thoughts could trigger repercussions. Chirik is it's a cold plant, and it will feel sometimes like you're being shocked with electricity. And if your mind will wander in a place it shouldn't, and you can't kind of manage that, and you get lost in your thoughts, and those thoughts are dark or disruptive, the plant can actually give you a jolt, like an electric shock, to remind you that you are here to grow with the plant and give the plant space to grow. Some plants, especially the ones that have a poisonous element to them, which are also can be dieted, like katawa. They're spiky, they're thorny. They can give you pains in your stomach, or in some other parts of your body, sharp shooting pains that can also bring you back into focus and remind you of why you're here. So dietas are kind of the path to getting the spiritual power and connecting to the plants and being able to use them and having them serve you. Once you complete a dieta successfully, that plant becomes your companion, and it remains with you for the rest of your life. So it's a very useful spiritual tool to keep you on your path. And many people who go through a dieta will change and transform in ways that sometimes aren't even expected. I'm still looking forward to seeing what kind of lasting changes and effects my dieta will bring. And I will continue to record my thoughts and make observations in terms of what has changed and what I feel is changing and what I still need to work on.